These are my top 10 MCU movies. Forever, always will be. Written in stone. If you disagree with me, you're... I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We'll leave it in.
Okay, well, fuck it. We can bleep
He's
it
canceled,
out.
boys.
Yeah, just bleep it out and we'll have him understand.
He apologized.
So number 10, Winter Soldier. At number 10.
Whoa.
Captain America, Winter Soldier.
That low?
Yeah. And as good of a movie as it is, I love it a lot. I find myself, when I go back into my mind, I remember the least about it in these 10 movies. The least about it. Like, as far as the plot points, things that happen. And slowly it comes to me, but even at the end of the day, I remember the least about it.
Okay.
It's the least memorable to me.
I'm interested to see where the rest of the list goes.
Number 9 is Guardians 3. That is my number 9.
That low. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
I had to look past the bias because they mentioned King Crimson in the very end of the movie, and I couldn't help it. Like, I marked out. It was too much. And you know what? I had to look past that bias. It's a great movie. It's one of my top 10 favorites. But at the end of the day, I still think that these next 8 are better than them.
Okay.
Number 8 is Thor Ragnarok. It is.
Okay. I don't think it's better than the other two movies.
I have to disagree.
This is where I'm like, I would have to. Yeah, you disagree. Obviously, it's your list, but go ahead.
To me, Thor Ragnarok was before Endgame. It was the movie that took the MCU to a point that it was at the midpoint. It could have gone in a much better direction after that movie. But it was a point where it was like, okay, these movies are funny. They're action packed. They have everything going for them. That's it. It was an amazing movie, an amazing watch.
I think it's great. I think it's good. I think it's the best Thor movie. I just think all the other Thor movies are like mid.
They can be,
and that's why everybody. And Thor's like, so for me it goes Spider-Man, Batman, Wolverine. Spider-Man, Batman. What's up?
I was just looking at it.
Yeah, for me it goes Spider-Man, Batman, Wolverine, and then Thor. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I love Thor a lot. In the Avenger movies, he pops off. Like, he's my favorite superhero in the Avenger movies.
Crazy.
His personal movies, though, I just don't think he's like a real interesting character. Like an Iron Man that is not transitioning, but he is this playboy, like he says in Avengers, he's a playboy millionaire philanthropist or whatever. And then he turns into like this more, I love Pepper Potts, I want a family. In Endgame, he's like, I have to now decide over a family. That character arc in Iron Man, just for an example, I don't think we ever get in the Thor movie. So, it's not, I think your story is only as interesting as your characters, and I don't think Thor, the MCU Thor, is as interesting as, let's say, a Captain America or some of the Guardians. So that's my reasoning. But what's your reasoning behind number 8?
So I personally just thought Ragnarok was an amazing, fun movie to watch.
It's funny.
It's funny. It is funny.
The funniest MCU movie, maybe.
Yeah. And it really might be outside of maybe the first Guardians upon that first watch. Like,
that man knows.
And we'll get to the first Guardians in a moment.
Yep, number 7.
Number 7, Iron Man 2. I love Iron Man 2. No. I have such a...
Go ahead.
I'm not trolling. You made me laugh, though. I had such a great experience watching this movie the first time. I was in school, and my father came to get me, and he was like, hey, my stepfather came to get me, and he was like, hey, we got this emergency. We got to take care of this. I was like, what's going on? He's like, I'll tell you when you get in the car. And I get in the car, I'm like, what's going on? He's like, Grandma, what's going on? He's like, we're going to see Iron Man 2. I was like, yo, let's go.
That's lit.
It was such a fire movie, and I love the movie. I love War Machine.
Elon Musk is in that movie. I just recently found that out.
Yeah, he was at the Formula One race. Yeah. And I love the Formula One racing. I love Whiplash. I love War Machine. I love Justin Hammer in that movie. He was in something that we watched recently. I forget, but he's
Justin Hammer. Who?
Justin Hammer. He's like the guy that runs Hammer Industries that like takes War Machine, like kind of like builds War Machine up. You know what I'm saying? Like with the military.
Oh, the one with the glasses.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's the guy.
I get him mixed up from the guy from Iron Man 3.
Yeah, I get that. And he's the guy that kills. He's the guy that kills the other guy's rat in the Green Mile. He was in the Green Mile. He's great in pretty much every performance that he does. I love Iron Man 2. If you don't like that movie, I don't
dislike it. But putting it above the first 3 that you named, and then also probably having it over Iron Man 3, which I think is better.
I do like Iron Man 3, but I can't. It's hard.
I like how he kind of goes back to Iron Man 1 where he has nothing.
Yeah.
And he's struggling.
Yeah.
And that's why I like Iron Man 3. Iron Man 2, he never really struggles. That's kind of like where I'm at with it.
I understand.
But I get the nostalgic factor.
I understand. The nostalgia factor is big there, and I am not ashamed to admit it. But the nostalgia that I have for that movie is ridiculous. I love Iron Man 2. For a while, it was my favorite MCU movie for a long time.
Better than Iron Man?
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. For a while, and then I reassessed myself. You know,
well, yeah,
put
you
my
get
ducks in
older, you
order.
realize. You used to really love the Incredible Hulk movie.
Oh yeah, I do. But like at the same time, like it's hard for me to count that as an MCU movie because it's halfway not canon. Like
Yeah,
the only part
it's
that's
not
canon
Mark
is the last
Ruffalo.
30 seconds of the whole movie. You know what I'm saying? Number six, the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Number 6.
That's probably where you're a little high on it than me, but yeah.
When I first watched that movie, I was like, wow. Like that was the one that I was like, the MCU is heading in a direction that I cannot fathom because I used to really like the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I had I had a reprint of the original comic, and the cover was fascinating because it was more so diverse cast of characters than the Avengers at the time, and it was just and then they changed it up because originally Yondu was a part of the Guardians. Like
I love Yondu in that movie.
I love Yondu. Yondu in the first two. He's only in the first two. He's probably my favorite character throughout that whole franchise, that whole trilogy. Love Yondu. First Guardians, I don't think anyone can see a reason wrong with having it at number 6 on anyone's list. I'm not saying that's a reason why I have it there. I really like that movie. I really do. And then we get into number 5.
Top 5.
Top 5. Number 5, Infinity War. That is number 5. I think it's a great movie. One of the better theater experiences I ever had. I almost cried on the way home. I dropped all my buddies off. I had everyone in the car. In my
Number
truck.
5?
Number 5. Yeah.
Did you misspeak and maybe meant number 1?
No, it's number 5. It's number.
Did
5.
Did you have an aneurysm maybe when you were making this list and you forgot that maybe what happened in the movie? I don't know.
It was good.
Do you have dementia?
No, I don't. I remember literally everything from that movie, from beginning to end. Everything from that movie.
Okay.
From Hulk from like what used to be my favorite Marvel character getting actually fucking beat the fuck up and pieced up. And he wasn't my favorite after that. I literally watched Thanos put like a 20-piece combo on him. I was like, no longer a Hulk fan. No longer a Hulk fan. I prefer Ant-Man over Hulk now. Ant-Man, like Hulk.
Well, Hulk now, yeah. Hulk MCU now sucks.
Bitch, he's a bitch. He wears sweaters and glasses. I'm not doing that. It's lame. He's so lame.
It's lame.
It's
lame. Not what Hulk is.
No, it's not. And honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why. That's not one of the reasons why I rank it lower. But like, it's just because there's movies that I like more so than it, and I think it having one and like being one part of a duology that I had to wait a year and a half, or a year for. I don't know. I think I prefer movies that are one solid piece. I'd rather watch a 4-hour movie than a movie in 2 parts I have to wait. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. Some people might disagree. I understand the hype within game, but it's just to me. I don't know. I love Infinity War. I really do.
Okay.
Probably Thor's best pull-up in the entire franchise.
I'm very interesting to see.
Number 4?
Number 4.
Number 4 is Avengers Age of Ultron.
Huh?
Sorry, I was thirsty.
Okay. What?
So, I'm a huge fan of Vision. I love Vision. Love them in the comic books. Love them when he was part of the West Coast Avengers. I love Quicksilver. I love the introduction of him and Scarlet Witch. Thor, his hammer gets picked up by Vision in the movie. I love it. I think Ultron is a very underrated villain. I have to agree with that one strange fellow that we were talking about.
Yeah, someone just commented on my TikTok and
I don't think he's a better villain than Thanos overall. Thanos had the whole, like...
You're stupid because you think that a villain makes a superhero
I
movie,
think
and you just said Thanos is better than Ultron, but you just put the Age of Ultron above the Infinity War.
It's one movie. It's not, and that's not the only reason why I like it more. I just like Ultron more. I think Thanos is a better villain. I like Ultron more. I like the way he talked more. I like the way he fucked with people. He was made out of vibranium. He has a lot of potential as a character, and he was my favorite comic book villain outside of Dr. Doom. He's like my favorite comic book villain in the MCU at least. You know, and he's just, I love that movie. When it came out, when it was like, hey, they're doing the Ultron movie, it was like, fuck. Like, that was people forget the hype that was actually behind them. It was the second Avengers movie. The hype was unreal.
I'm in shock.
I understand.
I don't know what to say.
I understand.
I want to first preface, I love Age of Ultron.
I love it.
I think that people that shit on it are very dumb, almost as dumb as you right now.
It's crazy. Crazy.
Because look, it's the worst Avengers movie, and obviously he doesn't believe that.
It's the second worst.
It's the worst.
I think it's the second worst.
It's the second worst.
Behind Endgame.
Infinity War. You just put Infinity War behind Age of Ultron.
Yeah, but I like Ultron more. I have the ability to be objective, and then what I'm saying.
Okay, this is not a debate segment, but it's okay. I'll just say this: to me, Age of Ultron, out of the 4 Avenger movies, Avengers, Age of Ultron, Avengers: Infinity War, Avengers: Endgame, by far and away the weakest villain. And I get that you have a comic book like rose-tinted glasses for this. I get that.
It's so good.
Age of Ultron.
You gotta rewatch it.
There's great moments in it. However, it does not compare to the greatness that are the other 3 Avengers movies.
I have to disagree. I think it holds up perfectly. Perfectly.
Dude, you did that on purpose. I know.
No, I didn't. That's
you put Infinity War 5 and then Age of Ultron 4.
No, that is my genuine ranking.
Okay.
And then we're going to get to number 3.
Okay.
We're going to get to number 3. And you can't disagree with these last 3. If you disagree with anyone within a 40 million mile radius,
Age of Ultron is
stupid.
crazy, dude.
Number 3, Captain America's Civil War. That is my number 3.
It's just, it's ruined.
How?
The list is ruined.
How is it
Because
ruined?
you put Infinity War at 5 and you put Age of Ultron above it.
Because I like it more.
But then saying Age of Ultron is better than Infinity War, and then saying
Civil
War.
I think.
Listen, Civil War has like the greatest ending to a movie, in my opinion.
I think it has the greatest pacing out of any Marvel movie outside of maybe one of these next 2.
Civil War to me is a top 10 MCU movie, and the only reason it's not top 5 is because the MCU has fucking prior to 2020 was on a rampage.
They were.
Prior to 2019, really. On a rampage up until Endgame. On a fucking rampage. So, it's hard to be in the top 5.
True.
And Civil War would have been in there if they stopped at... Guardians.
Think so?
I think it would be. Or no, because if Civil War happened... If they stopped at Civil War, it'd be a top 5.
You get Spider-Man introduction. You get Black Panther introduction. Oh, my Lord. And then you have, I think the only...
The Spider-Man introduction's ass. The Black Panther introduction's good. Yeah, I just...
Ass?
Yes, ass.
I have
you
hardcore
want your
disagree.
introduction to Spider-Man to be him in his fucking apartment?
Yeah.
No, you do not want it. You want the introduction of Spider-Man to be either bitten by a spider, or him at school, or him taking pictures of photography. You don't want him in his apartment.
It makes sense why they did
I'm
it,
from
though.
Brooklyn.
It makes sense why they did it, though, because you've seen it so many times. There's no point in doing it a third time. They just throw him into the universe like Spider-Man was already in there, just micromanaging the hell out of Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Or Queens, wherever.
They should have made a Spider-Man movie before Civil War.
No. That'd have been too much. That would have been, if they would have done that, it would have been like 2 years after the Amazing Spider-Man 2 with an immediate rewrite. The way that they played it out made the most sense. Civil War, and then the only flaw that I think I find in Civil War is that the overall villain, people forget about the Zeno guy, Baron Zeno.
He's the smartest villain.
He is easily the smartest villain. He broke up the Avengers, and then they've quite literally never been the
Civil
same.
War. People put Winter Soldier above Civil War. I think Civil War is better.
Yeah.
Not just because of this big fight at the end, but it's also like that.
fight
That's
was
not
cool.
the airplane scene is not the end. They go and
they box.
Iron Man versus Captain America and Bucky, and it was fire.
Like
I
mean, it's probably the most slept on scene in the entire MCU.
And dude, yeah, Iron Man is the best MCU character.
Oh yeah,
and it's about love it. Are you Team Iron Man or Team Captain America?
Iron Man, always.
You're Team Iron Man.
I was, dude. You gotta understand.
I get it. But
you gotta understand. Like the Avengers operating as free agents is interesting, but when you look at things under the guise of like modern political context, it's like you have organizations, like 3 little organizations that I'm not going to name, that have the ability to operate.
Hydra?
Yeah, sure. Hydra, real life Hydra that is operating on levels that they don't have to like. You know what I'm saying? They don't answer to anybody, and look what's happened. There has to be some sorts of accountability, and it's not like they were saying all of your rights and freedoms are being taken away. This bitch Wanda literally took a bomb up and killed like a whole floor of people. There needs to be a lot more sanctions on an organization like the Avengers. I completely agree with Iron Man, and it's not like they were taking away all of their fundamental rights.
I completely agree with both, though.
Yeah,
you have to see where Captain America was coming from. That's his friend, dude.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Dude.
But it's not like he was going to be incarcerated or anything. All he had to do was protect him.
Going back to your top 10 list. You have 2 spots left.
Mm-hmm.
What comes to mind... Have you said Guardians yet?
Yes.
What comes to mind, I only think of one movie. So is... Maybe... Okay, just go ahead. I think I know what one of your movies is. I'm trying to find the second movie.
When I talk about hype for a movie, there might be no greater hype for one individual movie, and if you can really think about it, you might agree with me for number 2, and that was the very first Avengers movie.
Okay.
The very first.
What's your number 1? I thought that was your number 1. That's crazy.
That first Avengers movie is... I put it over. I think it's the best.
It's top 3 for me.
Going into that as a little 12-year-old little fetus larva man child, as I like to say. The idea of seeing it for the first time in screen when it's been building for years, because that was the one that they built with all of the origin story movies. They just built up to it and they executed it perfectly. Perfect amount of comedy, perfect amount of action. They fought in between. They fought each other. Not exactly like Civil War, but they were boxing each other the whole movie up until Loki showed up.
Can you move your mic closer to your mouth?
They were
for louder.
Yeah,
you don't have to be louder. Just move it closer.
They were boxing each other the whole movie up until Loki showed up. You know what I'm saying? Like they were fighting. There was a whole bunch of infighting, and then they got together, formed the team. Loki is what formed
Avengers is a 10 out of 10 superhero movie.
It's a 10 out of 10 superhero movie.
I think there's 3 10 out of 10 superhero movies in the MCU.
In the MCU, maybe there might be, and I think I'm going to name another one as my number 1. I can't defend Avengers any more than I already have.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's going to disagree with the Avengers one. Now, what's number 1?
Is the first Iron Man movie. I mean, and I'm not trying to look at it through rose-tinted goggles.
Okay,
when I look at the first Iron Man movie, outside of even the realm of a superhero movie,
I don't think anybody's going to blame you for putting Iron Man number 1 because it's what started it all. But
it's not only what started it. Technically, yeah, it is what started it all because it was before Hulk. It was like that was the one that started all of it, and I don't think that's why it's the best. I think when you look at it outside the realm of superhero movies, just look at it as a movie. It's amazing. It looks amazing.
I agree.
All the effects hold up. Everything holds up. It looks perfect. Best origin story. Like, I think, like in my opinion,
in what MCU?
Yeah, easily.
Okay.
It's not even close.
Okay.
It's not even close. Best, like origin story for a superhero. I mean, like there's
you're
top
right.
3.
I was gonna say Vision, but
top 3. You know what I'm saying for a superhero. You know what I'm saying
of all time.
I'd say in movie wise, I'd say it's top 3.